if Earth had a place so dangerous? It could cook life alive, a place where shadows fail and metal melts in minutes. This isn't science fiction. It's the Lut Desert, and it's very, very real. NASA calls it the hottest place on the planet. But what they've recently discovered goes beyond heat. It's a land where the ground boils, where air scalds, and where survival is a ticking clock. Let's go there. The Lut Desert lies in southeast Iran. It's a land of endless salt, sand, and stone, harsh, desolate, and otherworldly. It stretches nearly 300 miles north to south and spans close to 185 miles wide. But what lurks inside isn't distance, it's destruction. Known to locals as a cursed zone, the desert has earned a reputation that predates modern science. But in 2005, what satellites captured from space stunned the scientific world. NASA's Aqua satellite, equipped with thermal sensors, recorded the highest land surface temperature ever measured, 70.7 degrees Celsius, or 159.3 degrees Fahrenheit, on the surface of a place called Gandambarian. For comparison, that's hotter than most ovens when baking a pizza. And yet, this wasn't a one-time anomaly. Year after year, the Lut Desert kept breaking its own records. Why? Because this isn't just a hot place. It's a natural furnace engineered by the planet itself. A hellscape sculpted by black volcanic rock, sun-soaked sand, and a sky that never offers mercy. Some scientists called it uninhabitable. Others said nothing could survive here. But as we'll see, the desert has its own secrets. Just before the desert's wrath begins, there's a final outpost, Shahdad, an oasis town clinging to the edge of oblivion. With its date palms, gardens, and groundwater, Shahdad is the last breath of life before the void. Here, temperatures still burn, hovering around 37 degrees Celsius, or nearly 100 degrees Fahrenheit. But compared to what lies ahead, it's bearable. To the untrained eye, this place might seem serene, but those who've lived near the desert know better. The air is drier, the winds begin to howl, and just beyond the dunes, the real nightmare waits. Ancient ruins mark the passage of old caravans who once dared cross this wasteland. The Shafi'abad Caravanserai, now collapsed and sun-bleached, whispers a warning. This land does not forget those who fail. Once you pass this line, there's no turning back without consequence. Inside the Lut, the rules of survival change. The first law: adapt or evaporate. There's no room for error here. The smallest mistake, a delay, a wrong step, a missing water pack, can turn fatal in minutes. Travelers must use soaked scarves as primitive cooling systems, pressing them to their skin to stave off heat stroke. Phones are packed in ice. GPS devices are double-backed. Even cameras are kept in insulated boxes to avoid meltdown. But it's not enough. The ground itself radiates an infernal heat. 63 degrees Celsius, 66 degrees Celsius, 69.6 degrees Celsius, rising like fire through your boots. The air doesn't just feel warm, it feels angry. Thermometers stop working. Electronics shut down. Water bottles turn to steam. Every tool meant to measure heat gave up, but the heat didn't. And that's when you realize you're not just walking through a desert. You're walking through Earth's furnace. In this desert, even the shadows betray you. Air temperatures in the shade, 45 degrees Celsius. Step into sunlight, I'm by the 52, 54 degrees Celsius. Shoes melt, plastic warps, flesh burns. Open the car window, It's like turning on a hairdryer in your face. There is no relief, only levels of pain. Even the devices meant to protect, fans, coolers, insulators, begin to fail. They overheat, shut down, surrender. Survival becomes minimalist. You carry what can endure. Everything else is dead weight. Shade becomes an illusion, offering nothing but temporary psychological comfort. The sun bleeds through everything. It crawls up from the sand and pierces through cloth. You don't escape the heat here. You absorb it. Every movement is calculated. Every breath feels like fire inhaled through a straw. Then the landscape changes. It no longer looks like Earth. Rising from the ground are the Koluts, vast rock formations carved by wind, time, and torment. They stand like ancient towers, jagged and menacing, stretching for miles. Alongside them, yardangs, knife-edge ridges aligned with the wind. These structures look like the spines of buried beasts, or like the ruins of a lost alien civilization. No birds fly overhead. No trees break the monotony. Just silence and stone. It's hard not to imagine you're walking across Mars, except Mars might feel cooler. Here, the only sound is the wind, and even that feels alive, whipping across skin like hot wire. This isn't just nature. It's a warning sculpted in stone. For years, scientists believed nothing lived here. Not a plant, not a bug, nothing. The data backed it up. The heat was too intense. The environment, too barren. Every research paper echoed the same phrase, completely lifeless. At the center of this inferno lies a name whispered with caution. Gandombarian. In Persian, it means roasted wheat. The legend says a caravan once dropped bags of wheat here. When they returned days later, the bags were cooked. This isn't folklore. It's a reflection of what happens when the ground itself becomes an oven. The rocks here are dark, volcanic, jagged, unforgiving. They absorb heat relentlessly, with no shade, no moisture, and no mercy. Winds here are no comfort. They blow like fire. The air doesn't rise. It stays low, suffocating, baking everything beneath it. And here, at this very location, NASA recorded the hottest surface temperature ever measured on Earth, 70.7 degrees Celsius. But recent studies suggest that number may be outdated. Updated software from NASA and deeper readings propose something even more terrifying, 80.8 degrees Celsius, or 177.4 degrees Fahrenheit. That's hotter than a cup of boiling tea, hotter than the surface of Venus in some regions. It is the black heart of the Earth, and stepping into it feels like challenging the sun itself. This is where even explorers hesitate, where tires melt, where cameras break, where silence becomes a roar, and the desert takes back control. To reach Gandombarian is to push past the point of safety. This is not a place for second thoughts. Even the vehicles surrender here. Engines overheat. Tires begin to warp and soften. No one drives into the heart. They walk, cautiously, nervously, wrapped head to toe in protective layers. At this stage, radio contact is no longer a formality. It's a lifeline. Every 10 minutes, a check-in. Every 10 minutes, a reminder that help might not reach you in time. There's no shade, no cover, no escape. Every footstep feels like walking across a stovetop. The heat is no longer a concept. It becomes a physical wall. Breathing becomes harder. Time feels distorted. This is the final test, and few pass it without scars. From this point on, standing still becomes deadly. You don't walk here for long, you endure it. The goal is not to conquer the desert, it's to make it back alive. This is where the desert breaks more than just spirits. It breaks science itself. Here, thermometers freeze, not from cold, but from overheat errors. Cameras switch off, sensors glitch. Even smartphones flash emergency warnings. Too hot to operate.
One expedition left meat on a car dashboard. Hours later, it was cooked. Another left a plastic phone case on a rock. It came back melted to the shape of the stone. Air temperatures hit 54.1 degrees Celsius. Surface temperatures, 69.2 degrees Celsius. Just standing still too long is dangerous. The human body wasn't built for this. Even hydration fails. Even shade deceives. The difference between 50 and 51 degrees Celsius, it's not a number. It's a collapse. Muscles cramp. Vision blurs. Hands shake uncontrollably. And then the realization dawns. This isn't the hottest day of your life. It's the closest you'll ever come to knowing what it feels like to be slowly cooked alive. Here, survival isn't heroic. It's lucky. The Lut Desert isn't just a record breaker. It's a warning written in stone. What happens here, this unimaginable heat, this hostile terrain, isn't isolated. It's a glimpse into what rising global temperatures could mean for the rest of the planet. The air here doesn't just burn skin, it sends a message. If this is what nature can create on its own, what happens when climate change adds fuel to the fire? Because the truth is, Earth has places like this, waiting to wake up. Here in this desert, the sun doesn't just shine, it dominates. It strips life to its core and dares it to survive. And yet, despite everything, the heat, the danger, the madness, people keep returning to test limits, to document reality, to face the fury of our planet head on. Because some places, you don't understand until you stand in their fire. You thought you knew what heat felt like, but this was something else entirely. If you found this documentary thrilling, intense, and eye-opening, there's more coming. We explore Earth's extremes, hidden worlds, and untold stories of danger and survival. Subscribe for more high-stakes, visually stunning documentaries like this, and drop a comment below. What part of this desert blew your mind the most? Thanks for watching.